Hello, everyone, and welcome back to New Cats on the Block. We're moving into the off-season, the second off-season for our series following a successful 8-4 campaign where we lost the Sun Bowl to the UCLA Bruins, our first bowl game. So if you want to know, just for reference, how on track we are against Pat Fitzgerald, or I guess the end of Randy Walker into Pat Fitzgerald in the real-life Northwestern Wildcats. So in 2003, they went 6-7 and lost the Motor City Bowl. We went 5-7, didn't go to a bowl. In 2004, they went 6-6 and didn't make it to a bowl. And we went 8-4 and lost the Sun Bowl. So we are on track right now with where they are as we move into recruiting now, where we only nabbed a single 5-star, which isn't great. I'm trying to really get better with the recruiting, or make the team better through recruiting. We struggled this year. But we do bolster quite a bit with the 3s and the 4s, so the team should still be getting stronger. Of course, we have training results that we have yet to get through as well, and we will see the team increase a little bit, because as you saw before recruiting, we were losing quite a bit of our guys from the first couple of years as they all start to graduate and whatnot. So we are it's gonna be a bit of a challenge here, year 3, year 4, to kind of fill in those stop gaps and make sure the team is getting better and not getting worse. We're not kind of falling behind here in recruiting. So looking at top recruiting classes, we come in at 14th, which is an increase from last year, where we finished 28th. So heading into the 2005 season, we come in with the 14th recruiting class. And again, pay attention to conference. See how many teams from our conference are here in the top 25. It doesn't necessarily mean they will be good heading into the year, because there's probably good teams in our conference that don't necessarily need to do super well in recruiting. You know what I mean? Like Ohio State's always in the top anyway, but like Penn State could have a fairly decent team better than us, and maybe they didn't recruit that well this year. So in a couple of years, they won't be that good, but they may still be better than us heading into this season. So looking over our training results now, we have a good bit of increase here in production from our team around the board. We have a lot of 80s now. Like guys are getting into the mid 80s. Like feels like we finally have like a somewhat decent team now, which is nice to say. Some of our recruits from last year are getting a little bit decent too. Like our quarterback number 14 has cruised up to a 90 overall. Having a 90 overall quarterback in year 3 is great, but I'm not going to claim credit for that because he's still one of the nameless people on this team, so we didn't really get that. But Doyle, our free safety, is up to an 85, and that is us. We can claim that. And Justin Frederick, our Bednarik Award winner from last year, he's a sophomore this year. We can claim that. So we're going to finalize training here. As a progression from our team is pretty nice. And now we're going to look over cuts because we got 61 guys. We got to get her down to 51. So we have 371 overall quarterbacks. I could really just kind of take a pick here, but of course we're going to get rid of one of these upperclassmen because obviously these guys are not going to play either 16 or 12. They're just not going to get on the field. So probably should have cut 12 because he's the senior. And he's definitely not going to play, but 16 wasn't either, so it's not a big deal. We have a lot of depth at the running back position. We don't need 5 of them, obviously, as number 26 is now getting the nod at the starting running back position for this following season, and he is up to an 84. But we have some recruits here rounding out in the 70s, so not too shabby from these 3 and 4 stars that we keep kind of getting. So the mission statement, I guess, moving into year 3 is going to be really just trying to capitalize on what we did last year. So we have the mission, as I stated in the last video, was, in the 20-year gap that we have from the release of NCAA 04 to last year's real-life NCAA football season, the 2022 season, we have, about a 19 seasons to get through, and I want to try and make Northwestern as good as I possibly can in that 19-year stretch. So as I just read before, the results of Northwestern's real-life season in 2003 and 2004, we're pretty much on par with them. I think we might be a game or two better than they were in real life at this time in that 2-year span, and we both have a lost bowl game under our belt. So the real-life Northwestern Wildcats would not win a bowl game in this stretch of time from 2003 to 2022. They would not win one until 2012. So we have just about a decade to get at least one bowl game under our belt. Now, with that being said, they played in 6 of them. So they would actually play in the Sun Bowl in the season that we're heading into, the 05 season. They would go to the Sun Bowl, and they would lose it. So we have a decade to get our first bowl win to get ahead of their schedule. But if we could also make 6 bowl games in that time frame, that would also be pretty important to me. So I'm also keeping track. I got a note just full of all of our award winners, our rankings, and stuff like that. I'm not going to pay too much attention to our team's rankings, like offense, defense, turnovers, and stuff, year to year. So if you pick up on little things like, hey, maybe I had the top offense like 3 years, like cool. But I'm not going to pay too much attention to that. Just kind of the bigger stuff here. As we look into our depth chart heading into next season, we clearly have some increase across the board. A lot of positions are starting to get a little bit better. We have some holes, obviously. Our linebacking core isn't super solid, but we're going to put Justin Frederick on the left side away from the middle side just to kind of consistently even up our talent. Kind of like in hockey, you distribute your talent evenly through the lines. We're going to try and distribute our talent evenly throughout our defensive positions, especially because we got guys who can excel in certain places. And what's fun about these college football games is that you'll get guys listed for certain positions, but their stats are just kind of great for other things, Like you may get a linebacker who just has the speed to also be like a DB, you know what I mean? Or like a safety or something, which is just nuts. But that's what's really fun about these games and like their recruits and stuff. And you can read all that stuff in their bios, I think, when you try to recruit them. But yeah, that's how the depth chart is going to look overall. So our 2005 schedule moving in to year number 3 for us, our out-of-conference opponents are going to be number 25 West Virginia, UCF, Ole Miss, and Arkansas State. So I will change the schedule somewhat, just if I feel like we're in a big year, we need a boost. I might put an easier opponent, or sometimes I'll just rock with the tougher opponent. But we're going to keep our schedule here, and we're going to sim through now and check over how we do. So our first game of the season is at home, welcoming the West Virginia Mountaineers, who are ranked 25th in the nation. Already starting the year off with a pretty tough game on the schedule, but we managed to win it just barely. Just barely, we knock home a field goal to take home the first win and knock West Virginia out of the rankings, following that up with a pretty dominant victory over the UCF Golden Knights, or Black Knights. I think they're Golden Knights. But now Ole Miss has taken that 25th spot from West Virginia as they enter in to Week 4 at 2-0, but we managed to beat them in convincing fashion. And now you got to ask, when are we going to enter the top 25? It's got to be after this week now, after they slept on us for the first half of the season, as we beat Arkansas State and look dominant in our out-of-conference play and move into number 20, heading into the the shoe, what am I saying, against number 3 Ohio State, who handles business for the 3rd straight year as they hand us our first L of the season, and we drop to 24. But we, of course, get right again with the Minnesota Golden Gophers, as we do every year, as we absolutely dominate the Gophers 43-6 to bounce back into that win column and keep the momentum of our season going following that one blemish. So at 22 in the nation, we go to face number 19 Indiana in Indiana, playing the Hoosiers, and we managed to win that game pretty convincingly by 2 scores over a 5-2 Indiana team. That's not a bad Indiana team, but we managed to win that one, and we just about swap places with them. We move up to 13th with our game against Wisconsin, who's having a horrendously down year from last year. They won the Big Ten last year, but we managed to beat them and send them to 2-7, and we move up to 11th in the nation as we face Purdue, who's also having a struggling year. We go to Purdue to play them, and of course the Spoilermakers. It's what they do. It's what they do every year, the Spoilermakers. We still have yet to beat the Purdue Boilermakers as they move up to 21 following their victory over us and drop us to 15th. And then we follow that up with another loss, this time to the Nittany Lions, who are having a decent season. Again, a very evenly matched game. This is going to be a new rivalry between us, man, always. So Penn State beats us, sends us to 8-3, but we bounce back with a amazing victory over the Michigan Wolverines. We have their number for some reason. We're just so good against Michigan for some reason. They're not the Michigan that we know in real life around this time, but I mean, still, bro, it's the Michigan Wolverines, and we beat them up pretty bad. We have about a mirrored score from the Michigan game in Illinois as we beat Illinois 36-14 to finish off 9-3, finishing off a game better than we did last season and finish 15th in the nation. Here are your Heisman results. It's always random, the Heisman results. And we get ourselves an invitation to the Alamo Bowl to play the number 16th ranked Texas Longhorns in San Antonio. So we finished the season 9-3 at 14. They're 9-3 at 16. This is going to be a pretty gosh darn even matchup between the two of us. So a strong showing here. We faltered on some games that I really wish we didn't. We can't keep losing to Purdue. We can't. We have to figure out how to beat Ohio State at least once. If we want to win a Big Ten title, we're going to have to do it. And then Penn State is always just a tough game. So looking over the matchup here between the two, Texas is clearly the better team. I don't know how we are ranked above them. Just shows how broken the rankings are. And I don't know how Texas is 16th. They must have lost towards the end of the season. But yeah, Texas, just looking at the rankings between the two teams, the comparison, Texas is just far and away the absolute better team. So we are going in essentially to just get ourselves mollywopped, I would imagine. I have no confidence. Our offense didn't score a single point last year against a worse UCLA team. I think they were ranked the same. They were 16th, weren't they? They might have been 18th. They were just about as good as this Texas Longhorn team was, but we know that ranking-wise, they were nowhere close. So, again, it's just crazy that Texas is 16th. They must have been, probably in the top 10. They lost, the last or second to last week of the season. So that's the only thing I can say to make sense of this, as we see the stats here from our running back who had a down, not a down year, but I mean just production-wise, I guess rushing, we only have 700 yards, a little over 700 yards on the season rushing-wise. So clearly all the damage was done through the air. So maybe we can rely on that against Texas because we're going to need everything we can in the Alamo Dome. This has got to be a home game for them in the Alamo Bowl. So we cut to a 3rd and 10 now in the first quarter for the Northwestern Wildcats as number 14 is in the shotgun. He's going to take that one back, drop all the way back, and that one is batted between a couple Texas defenders, and it is picked off. So we were throwing a pick here early in this game. Not a good look for the Wildcat offense as the Longhorns come up with a big stop. So 1st and 10 for Texas offense, heading the other way. Quarterback's got all the time in the pocket. He's going to find an open man, and there's no one in front of him. He is all the way free to the goal line, and that is a touchdown for Texas. All it takes is just one play, and Texas has already added a lead here early on in the Alamo Bowl. I mean, just look at this clean pocket he had. Steps up and makes a confident throw over a couple of our defenders and finds that open man. That's the thing about making those jumping sort of defending plays there. If you miss it, that receiver's wide open behind you. So if he gets it, that is going to go for a touchdown. So cut to another 3rd and very long situation for the Wildcats. Number 14 is in shotgun. He's going to drop back now just about to his own goal line as he gets hit on the throw, and that one flies right into the hands of a Texas linebacker who hauls that one in for a pick 6. Has to return it about 6 or 7 yards to pull off the pick 6. It was a terrible throw. The pressure was on. We didn't see it. The throw was errant. And, yeah, I mean, you saw number 9. Even if he got that ball, where was he going? Where was he going? He wasn't getting the first down. It was 3rd and 16. Come on, man. The coaching here is just not there. It's not there in the Alamo Bowl. We got to play tougher against Texas as we already find ourselves down 14-0 heading into the second quarter of this game. And as we head into the second quarter, the top of the second quarter, we find ourselves in a goal-to-go situation in goal line formation. Can we knock it in? As number 4 is going to drop back and find Coleman going across the middle there in between some linebackers, and he's able to haul it in and give us our first touchdown in bowl play. We were going bowling, and we finally have a touchdown going bowling. We finally hit a pin going bowling as we add 6 points to the board. And it's not going to matter because Texas pours on some more points to extend their lead to 30-7 going into half. And then not much would happen in the third quarter as Texas would add another field goal to extend it to 33-7. And then just to add insult to injury as we move to the end of the game, Texas would tackle on another touchdown to win 40-7 over your Northwestern Wildcats. Congratulations, Texas. You earned it. You earned the Alamo Bowl because we certainly didn't. We finally did score some points, so I guess that's good. In 2 bowl games, we have 1 touchdown. I don't know. I guess in real life, the fans would probably be like, dude, come on, you got to fire this guy, really? He's got 1 touchdown, 2 bowl games. What are we doing? But in real life, again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, we are still on par with the real-life Northwestern Wildcats, who lost 6 bowl games, 4 of them in a row, before winning 1. So we've lost 2 in a row. Hopefully our next one that we get to, we can win it because I'm tired of losing bowl games. I'm tired of our team playing badly in bowl games. And as we look over our stats at the end of the game, as well as our individual stats, they played very poorly. This team did not play well. I hate between the simming and just watching the games. Like, it's like night and day. Like we score 40-something points in a game with like Wisconsin or something, but then we come into this game and we can't even manage to score more than a single touchdown. It's all right. I'm going to get heated. I'm going to get steamed because our quarterback, number 14, had another horrendous performance in another bowl game. He just folds under pressure, dude. We're not even playing a New Year's Six. We're not playing for the Orange Bowl or the Rose Bowl at all. We were just playing in the Alamo Bowl, and you are blowing it, sir. But moving ahead into our next season, we're going to look to hopefully bolster again and continue to improve this team following another successful appearance in a bowl game. Not a successful appearance, but we at least made it. So be with us in our next video as we cover our next season on NCAA.